Hi guys, and welcome to All About the Philippines. Now there's many of you guys out there who are thinking about dating a Filipina, or maybe have just started to date a Filipina. So today's video we're going to expand on a previous video I did a couple of months ago, which was called Before Dating a Filipina, Be Ready for These Things. As I say, in this video we're going to expand on that a little bit, and we're going to call this video Before Dating a Filipina, Be Ready for More of These Things. Stay tuned. So guys, no doubt Filipinas make wonderful partners, but you need to really get the right Filipina, and once you've got the right Filipina, then you can work on your relationship. But knowing what to expect straight away when you first go to the Philippines to meet her, that is something that you can prepare yourself for, and that way things won't be such a shock. You got to remember, you're going to a different country, you're going to their country where things are done a lot differently. So the culture is different, the way of doing things is different. It can be quite a big culture shock, and of course, if you've never dated a Filipina before, you know, things that they do can actually be quite amusing, and sometimes maybe that other things can take you a little bit of time to get used to their particular ways. But know this, what they do and how they act is not a reflection towards you. It is just their culture and their way of doing things as they've grown up in the Philippines. So let's get straight into today's video, guys. So one of the things you'll notice with a Filipina when you're first dating them, you might actually ask them a question. You might say, whereabouts is the TV remote, for example? And they will do something like this with their mouth. They'll go, and you think to yourself, what the hell are you doing? What's going on here? What does that mean? You know, and after questioning your Filipina, she might actually say, well, I'm telling you where it is. That's what we do. We go, so you say, which way to the shops? And they might go, or if it's that way, they'll go with their mouth. They use their mouth. And that's not them being smart towards you or trying to be funny towards you. That's actually what a lot of Filipinas will do. Now, I want to preempt this video as well by saying not every Filipina will do these things I'm mentioning about, but it is quite common, and it's based on my own experience with my Filipina. So we don't want to put everyone in the one category, but it is quite common. I have heard similar stories many times. So that's a way that many Filipinas will give you an answer just with their mouth, and it is quite amusing, I find it, but you get used to it. And I found after my wife has come to Australia, she still does that sometimes, but not as much, because I'm like, what does that mean? You know, like, is it just here, or is it right down the road, or what is it, you know? And that's another thing too, you'll get with Filipinas and Filipino people when you're in the Philippines. You might ask for directions somewhere. So you might be walking down the street and you might be a bit lost, and you might ask someone, well, how do I get to this street or whatever? And what they'll do, instead of just telling you, saying, go down the road this way about 300 meters and take a right, then a left, they'll just point. They'll just point like this. So they don't really give you instructions a lot of the times. And that's just the way they do it. They'll just head you down the general right direction. Then you've got to ask someone else when you get up that way, you know, again, where do you go? And they might do the same thing. They might go down that way, you know, or point just like that. So that's quite a couple of quite amusing things that can happen in the Philippines, and in particular with your new Filipina girlfriend. So with Filipinas, you will notice very quickly that they love to sing karaoke. Well, many of them love to sing karaoke, and it won't matter where or what occasion. So generally at family gatherings, they will have karaoke there, and they'll get right into it. Or in the cities, they have many karaoke bars, and she might drag you into one of those where you get a private room there, and you can have food, you can have drinks, and you can sing your little heart out to karaoke songs. And it's a thing that Filipinas love to do. So even though they might be generally shy in nature, some of these Filipinas, they seem to change totally when they get a microphone in their hand and the karaoke comes on. They seem to really get in there and belt out a tune. So if you're not really into karaoke, you start getting used to it, because you're going to see a lot of karaoke when you're in the Philippines, undoubtedly. Now, following on from that, I guess Filipinas and Filipino people in general are very family orientated. So you might be over there. So if you're just visiting there, or if you're living in the Philippines, then you will notice very much that the family will always be dropping in. They'll always be coming there, or you might be taken to families' houses where there's 10, 15 people all ready there to greet you, and I guess to check you out in particular, to suss you out to see what's this foreign man like. So they'll be paying close attention to you. But no, it's not just about them having a bit of a sticky beak at you. It's about them really being interested in you and wanting to get to know you a little bit as well. Even though in some cases, if you're in the province areas, the English might not be great between you and them, but they do have a bit of an understanding of what you're saying. You'll notice very quickly how family is super important to Filipinos, and they all stick together pretty well through thick and thin, and you will get used to that as time goes by and you get used to the family members. And let me say, it's a great feeling to have those extra family members as part of your family as well, and a lot of them will welcome you in with open arms. So it's a nice feeling to have that. Now, the next thing you've got to get used to is miscommunication. Now, you've got to remember, English is not her first language. Now, many Filipinos can speak English to a certain level. They're not all, especially in the province areas, they're not overly expert at it, let's say, like you'd be used to in your country by talking to a woman in your country. You've got to make some allowances here, especially if she's a little bit shy. She might pretend to understand what you're saying. Now, you could be speaking quite quickly, which we're used to. I know here in Australia, we're used to speaking quite fast. And to a Filipina, if we speak the same way, they can get lost in what you're actually saying or what you're meaning to say. So it's really important that you have in your mind that you slow your speaking down a little bit. It seems unnatural for you, but it will help your Filipina to understand a little bit more about what you're saying. And look for her body language to make sure she is understanding what you're saying, because quite often they might not understand, but they will just, right, nod their head and pretend they understand. You think, oh, cool, they understand what I'm saying, all good. But the next thing, they're not doing what you've agreed upon, and that can cause a bit of conflict because of the miscommunication and lack of understanding from the Filipina. And whether that's because you're speaking too fast or she's just not understanding, and you might need to explain it to her a few times. Be more patient, slow down, and explain to her what it is that she's missing here, what she's not getting. And in time, that will improve and it will get less frequent. But I know even sometimes with my wife, who's been here in Australia 5 years, sometimes she still gets a little bit lost in translation or the meaning of something. And sometimes she'll just pretend to know, and then later on I'll say, but I thought I explained that to you. And she goes, I didn't really understand. Well, yeah, encourage your Filipina to openly tell you when she's not understanding something, and that'll go a long way to help with the miscommunication or not understanding what you're actually telling her. And too, it can go both ways. You might not always understand what she's going on about too. Filipinas sometimes have the habit of, when they're quite comfortable with you, a word or two will sometimes slip out in their own dialect, and you think, what? It takes you back. I go, what was that? And she's and then she puts it in English for you. So yeah, that happens as well sometimes. So that's quite. I find that a little bit funny when they do that, but it's just a natural thing because she's comfortable with you, and native language is always going to be her first language. So the next thing you might have to get used to is when you're at a family gathering with your Filipina in the Philippines, or even if you've taken them to your country and there's a gathering with many Filipinas around and there's very few men or people from your country, they will talk in their own language. And especially when you're in the Philippines, I find it sort of, you're trying to follow what's going on. You might know a few words here and there, but it's very hard, and you sort of can feel quite left out. because you're not really following what's going on. They're having a good old catch up, which they do. You know, they get together, they want to hear about what's going on for each other, and you know, funny stories, what's happening, or what's happening with uncle down the road, or whatever. And they sort of can forget that you're there and you don't understand what they're talking about, and you can feel quite left out. So don't feel like they're doing it on purpose. They're just, you are in their country and they are talking to each other as you would do when she comes to your country, and you would talk to your friends or family in English or your own language. Then that's just what's happening over there. So don't take offense to that, just go with it, and I'm sure in time they will start to try and speak a little bit more in English for you, or try and include you in some conversations. Now here's one that I've found. Anyway, as I say, I can only speak for my wife, but they love to shop. Filipinas love to shop. You can go to a shopping centre, and let's talk about the shopping malls in the Philippines, how massive they are. I've been to a few really big ones around Manila particularly, like the Mall of Asia, that's absolutely massive, and Glorieta Mall, that's like got 5 big malls in one or something. Anyway, it's huge. I remember us going to the Glorieta Mall and we were absolutely lost in there. Like, there's multiple stories, there's, as I say, all these different big buildings connecting to each other through walkways, and it's just absolutely monstrous. And I had no idea where we were at any time, but it didn't faze my wife too much. She was just going along and doing shopping and looking at different things, and she wasn't even really buying anything. She just loves to go and shop and look at what's there. You know, she would buy something every now and again. It's just something that they love to do, and I think many Filipinas love to do the same thing. So they'll love to go and look at handbags and shoes and clothes. You know, might check out the fresh produce sections, or what, you know, just so much that they'll be looking at just about everything. So if you're like me a little bit and you're not really into the shopping, then you have to get used to that and just follow them around and, you know, let them do their thing, because it's something they do enjoy doing. And my last point I've got for you today is, generally Filipinos can be quite shy, especially early on in a relationship. So they might not always talk a lot, or they might not give you in-depth answers, and that can be a couple of reasons, because they feel that their English is not up to scratch with your English, and it can be hard for them to explain things to you, and you have to just encourage them to do their best and be patient with them to work out what they're trying to communicate to you. Now, as I say, most Filipinos I've come across actually speak fairly good English, to the point where you can understand them quite well, but they have the lack of confidence because they might not have met too many foreign men. And this shyness will sort of get less and less as time goes by, but a lot of them I found, with my wife, she's still quite shy in many ways. So it doesn't go away completely. They do get less shy as time goes by. That's what I've found for sure. So as I say, don't take that as anything against you when you first meet them and you think, oh, she doesn't talk too much, or she doesn't, you know, she's not really, maybe she's not interested in me. No, that's not the fact. She'll be interested in you. You just need to be patient with her and help her to talk a bit more. Ask her, instead of, ask her questions, what they call open-ended questions. So don't ask a yes or no answer question. Ask her something where she can answer you a bit more in depth with something, not just a yes or no answer. And that will help to get her out of her shyness, especially in that early stage, as I say. Okay guys, that's about it on this video, guys. If you haven't seen my first video on this, which I mentioned earlier, then check it out up here. All the different points that I've listed in the 2 videos. And that first video did actually do quite well. It was only listed a couple of months ago, and it's already got, I think, well over 8,000 views in that short time. So that's not too bad. So obviously people are enjoying that one as well, and I hope you will enjoy this video that we've done for you today as well. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I appreciate all your support. Don't forget to put your comments down below. Share the video around with all your networks. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get more videos. Thanks again, guys. Take care and bye for now.